here we are again, Mark. Winter approaching, season going on, and back for a question-answer session.
Yeah. Obviously, on the back of a good win Tuesday, always more relaxed doing these type of things on the back of a good result. So yeah, all good.
All going well.
All going well on and off the pitch at the moment. Touch wood. Yeah.
Dominant topic: update on stadium redevelopment plans. As Oliver Harry on Facebook puts it, we need a stadium development update. This is the burning question.
Well, the update is, I thought we'd gone through this in the last Q&A. There's no quick fix, so just want to make sure there's no quick fix.
It's early days.
It's early days. Michael only took over, what was it, less than 2 months ago. Just to let you know where we are with the process. And I mean, you're not talking about hundreds of thousands of pounds here. You're talking about potentially tens of millions of pounds. So everything that's going to be done will be done correctly, properly, thought through. A senior executive from Tenant is currently in the country. That's going to take, I mean, he's going to be over for the foreseeable future. He's actually moved his family over. So that's how serious, it's being taken. With the brief of developing a stadium master plan. Now, I don't want to put any timescales on that, but I think you're possibly looking at, it will be at least a year before myself or a decision knows or a decision is actually taken in that regard. I think the way it's going to work out is obviously all other options are going to be looked at, as you would expect, away from Fratton Park. And then once or if a decision is made to stay at Fratton Park is arrived at, then the priorities of the development at Fratton Park, how does that take place? So it's all still being looked at. Michael's been in place as chairman for less than 2 months, so it's still early days. But the plan as such now is let's get some professionals involved, which they are. In addition to the Tenant guys that, as I said, are already overworking on this, there'll be choice of professional architects, professional development specialist stadium advisors. Everyone will come together, and over the course of the next 6 to 12 months, I would estimate, a stadium master plan will be developed.
And as soon as you know,
as soon as I know, other people know. I stress at this moment in time, it's such a big decision with potentially tens of millions of pounds that is going to have to be spent, that it's not something you want to do and do quickly. You need to go through, a thorough plan and process, and there'll be a lot of consultation involved during that process as well.
Right. Club crest ruffled a few feathers.
Yeah, I don't see why. I honestly don't see why it should ruffle feathers. I'm being honest, it's Michael was clear in the lead up. We need something that we can copyright. I think the pleasing thing for me is that the big concern was the club was going to deviate massively from our existing crest, which everyone seems to know and love, and myself and Michael included in that. He wanted to spark a bit of debate when I was out in America recently. So we did a video for the PST explaining why I couldn't, or myself and Michael couldn't be at the PST AGM. And he said, should we put some of the crests behind us just to get a little bit of feedback? There's, again, just on that, there's been no decision, same as with the stadium at the minute, there's been no definitive decision made in regards of the crest. And even before any decisions are made, we have got a Heritage and Advisory Board meeting next week, where we're actually going to sit down as a group and decide on the process of it, i.e., who does make the final decision. Is there going to be a fans vote? Is there going to be a Heritage and Advisory get the final say? Is Michael going to have the final say? So all these different areas will be discussed.
Just to cut in there and to add to this, Jim on Facebook says, how would the board feel about getting some reputable local designers to put forward some designs for the new club crest? There are some very talented people in our city. I feel that this may put the fans at ease, knowing that it has come from a fan.
It's been done. It's been done already. So that has already been done. Our existing crest there was designed by a local company employed by Anna Mitchell, our commercial director. And, you know, there has been input from a number of companies, a number of fans already. And listen, we welcome it. You know, thank you to everyone that's already sent through your own designs. And that was the whole point of putting the crests up behind Michael when we was in America, to get people talking about it, to get people sending through their designs. You know, info@pompeyfc.co.uk. Everything gets forwarded on to me. Every one of you that has sent it gets forwarded on then to America, you know, so that's all going to come into the melting pot. We've got a Heritage and Advisory Board meeting next week, where Anna Mitchell and Michael are going to be presenting, I believe, you know, various examples and crest designs to see what route we want to go down. But again, before we do that, there will be a process put in place. At the moment, it's up for debate. There's no big rush to make this decision. We've got until realistically the start of next season. I'm assuming it'll be a process where there will be a lot of involvement, a lot of input, and hopefully we all arrive at the correct decision.
Has to be said, for the first 20 years of the club's existence, it didn't have a badge. And once it did, it's changed colour and design various times.
Listen, I was amazed. I mean, as you know, we were joking about it on here. References to Crestgate. You know, I mean, which is bizarre. I mean, if you look at the history of our crest over the years, it's changed beyond recognition. Often on a seat, you know, there's a couple of seasons here, and then it changes to this, it changes to that. You know, this is just my personal opinion. I mean, so don't take this as gospel. I love our crest. I think this crest, for me, is perfect. So if we can make a slight adaptation to that means we can then copyright and protect it for the club and for future revenue streams moving forward, that's the route personally I would like to go down. Now, others have sent in radical changes. You know, I've seen radical design changes. Again, I see on Facebook on the various fans groups where someone puts up a new crest, the first 3 people go, wow, this is brilliant, why don't you send it in to Mark? And then another 6 say, are you having a joke? This is like hideous, you know? So I don't think you're going to please everyone in this. You're just impossible. All you can try and do is arrive at a solution that we do have a crest that is, we can copyright, again, protect, you know, the future revenue streams and the crest for the future of the football club, which is the most important thing, but that you're going to get a majority think is acceptable. That's all you're going to get. It's never going to be unanimous.
Okay. Right, another Twitter debate. Mark on Twitter. Why are ticket concessions granted to over 63s, but the full price paid by students? Goes against logic and morality.
Does it? I'm not sure it does, if I'm being honest with you. We are edging, as people know, up the age to bring in line the government recognised OOP, where people start getting their old age pension, in line with our own policy of when you start getting a concession discount. We didn't do that overnight. The club was out of kilter, you know, with what is the government age for the old age pensioners. So we're bringing that in line over a 5-year period. As everyone knows, we've said that was a process that started, I think, 2 or 3 years ago. So that's going through. Now, in regards, we do have a young person's price point where we don't discriminate against students and people that are in work. Again, listen, I'm happy to be shot down on this, and I think it could be controversial, but my view is if someone takes the decision to go and become a student so that they can then better their life in future years, that is their decision. So what we don't do at the moment is discriminate against young people that are actually working. Because you could then put forward the argument that someone who's 19, as an example, and he's working in a shop, he should be paying full price compared to a student who's paying a much reduced rate because he's taken the decision to go to university or further education. So what we try and do as a football club, which I believe is right, is not discriminate against that. We have a young person's age group. Again, that, you know, that is open to debate. It's a debate I'm willing to engage in. And again, it's, you know, we run these type things through the Tony Goodall Fans Conference, and if it becomes that big an issue, you know, that's something we can look at, obviously, at the Heritage and Advisory Board.
Yeah, and one of those things you're never going to really win, are you?
You're never going to win because, again, if I am Mr. Catlin that's working in B&Q at 24, why should I be paying more than Mr. Moore, who's decided to try and get a degree at Portsmouth University, even though I'm on the minimum wage? Why can someone tell me that? I mean, Mr. Moore, that's your decision to go and become a mature student. You know, I just, again, I'm probably going to get shot to pieces over this, but I'm just giving my own personal opinion, and I'm happy to be shut down over it.
Okay, maybe you will.
Yeah.
Martin on Twitter, how much of the Tenant 10 million equity has been spent?
I won't go into how much of it's been spent, but I will say that the works that had taken place on the stadium over the summer just to keep the stadium open has overshot, which I knew it would, I think everyone knew it would, by a substantial amount of money.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, I'm just not right to go into the financial details of that, but it's a huge amount of money we've overshot. So that investment, we're already seeing the benefit and the fruits of that.
Okay. Freddie on Instagram.
Yeah.
Where will we see the Eisner family's investment in the foreseeable future?
Well, it'll once the stadium master plan is completed, because at the moment we're obliged as a club to undertake the safety and security works that were set out in various reports that were shown a few months ago, over a 3 to 5 year period. So that is going to be what you won't see it, but that's where a lot of the money will be going. However, and this is the whole point of having a stadium master plan, if just as an example, there is a desire to build a new Milton End or a new North Stand, and that's going to be in, say, 3 to 5 years, just as a round figure, no firm decision made there, but I'm just giving an example. It would be crazy to have to go and spend £1 million in the Milton End if you were going to be knocking it down in 2 to 3 years, you know, and say spend 5 to 10 million building a new Milton End. Yeah. So there's all them things that have got to be flushed out, you know, and that'll all be flushed out, as I say, over the next hopefully 6 to 12 months in regards of a stadium master plan.
Yeah, it's all very early days, isn't it?
I think people forget it's been 2 months, is it? I think since the vote. So Michael's. You know, he did say all the way along, and Tenant said all the way along, this first season year, we love the way the club's being run. You know, the club is in a great place. We're not going to come in and start changing things around. Reply to the question, you're probably not going to see anything this season, but I would anticipate from the seasons onwards, then you'll start to see the changes taking place.
A long process.
It's a long process, and I keep saying it, that we are genuinely one of the best run clubs out there. So why would you want to make too many drastic changes on that? But changes have to be made. Investment is and was required, and you're going to see the fruits of that now moving forward.
Okay. Mike on Facebook, could the kiosks be made cashless to speed things up at half time? With contactless card payments now, it makes things so much easier and quicker without handling cash. This works well around the country.
Yeah, as I say, Michael and, you know, all the top Tenant people, our board are over next week for the whole week, and this is something that is being looked at, and it wouldn't surprise me to see certain areas of the ground at least it being implemented before the end of the season. Okay. Hopefully, yeah. I mean, it's something we're going to be speaking to Centreplate, our kiosk supplier, about, but it is something right at the top of the agenda.
Another thing that is on people's minds at the moment, iFollow. And Glenn on Twitter says, how are the plans progressing and improvements to iFollow?
Again, that's another issue. I mean, iFollow is a football league product. It's not run by us at all. You know, we have nothing to do with it. We try and do what we can in regards of trying to put the commentary on there. We're one of only a handful of clubs that are currently doing that, because there are these syncing issues, getting the commentary synced up with the video. So there are issues there that are out of our control. To say our chairman, I've not seen him get annoyed about a lot of things, but this is the one thing that does annoy him, because he tends to watch his games in America, and he's used to a very high standard of watching live broadcast, you know, and that's his background. So it's something he's very much on. Again, next week when, you know, our board are over, we are speaking to the top people that produce this, and yeah, it's something that the current standard, whilst, let's be fair, the subscribers we've got are really, really happy that they can actually watch a game now, you know, abroad, compared to just the commentary. So the actual video of the game is brilliant, but it is frustrating with the syncing issue and the commentary, so I ended up turning it off, and that's not acceptable. So it is something that we are very much on, and something that we as a club out there in the Football League as a whole, because it's a Football League product, are very much going to be taking a lead on in trying to improve it, along with the Football League. Yeah.
Here's a $1 million question.
Yeah.
Mr. Yates on Instagram, what has been the biggest difference working with Kenny compared to Paul Cook?
Wow, great question. Chalk and cheese, absolute opposite ends of the spectrum, and neither one right and neither one wrong. Yeah, so I've worked with various managers in various degrees, and I say, so don't take this the wrong way. It's not. I'm not saying one's right, one's wrong. My job is to support the managers, so I'm happy whatever. I would say Paul was a very, very inclusive manager, in regards of he'd ring a lot. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? Should we be doing this? Should we be doing that? You know, so Paul was engaging with me pretty much 24/7. Yeah. As I know he did with Ian McInnes. You know, he was that type of guy. Kenny very much on the other end of the spectrum. We don't really. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I rang him the day before a game or a game, I mean, I've turned up for games and people say, "What's the team?" I genuinely don't know. Do you know what I mean? If Ken wants to tell me, you know, it's up to Ken as manager. But Ken very much is, he does things his way. Don't get me wrong, he has rung me the odd time and said, what did I think of this or that? But not to the same level as Paul. You know, Paul was very consuming as a manager. Ken is very low maintenance as a manager. Do you know what I mean? And as I'm saying again there, that neither one is right or wrong, both good managers in their own way. Paul liked to involve people, liked to, as I say, he spoke to Ian McInnes, I think, on a daily basis, spoke to me definitely, Tony Brown as FD. You know, he was always seeking second opinions on things, and ultimately, you know, most of the time he never even listened to me anyway. I suppose Ian or Tony Brown the same. Yeah, he just liked to hear them different opinions and then made his own decision. Where Ken very much is his own man as a manager. Yeah. He's got his football team, trusts in them. I'm happy either way. If a manager wants to ring me as a chief exec and go, what do you think of this? Great. If he doesn't, I'm great with that as well.
I can only endorse the chalk and cheese.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, the number of times with Paul where the cameras had stopped rolling and then we'd sit there for 3 hours and having just a general football discussion, which was great, where, I don't know, but I'm assuming Ken very much, when it's finished, it's like, everything all right? I need to get on, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's just the chalk and cheese, and I'm not saying one's right or wrong, just very different. Yeah, we've been very lucky. We've had two really, really good managers, but they are on. Their style is completely different.
Multiple fans. What's happened to the flags at the Fratton end now the giant university advertising is there?
Oh, I've not really thought about that. I've seen some flags here in the office, and it's something we will have to discuss where they go now, really.
Yeah, we need to speak with people, but there's very limited space out there.
There's limited space there now, unfortunately, but we do need to get them up somewhere. That's, you know, all right, it doesn't fit with the corporate image as such, but, you know, not everything has to fit with a corporate image. Yeah, I mean, I do like, funny, I remarked today, the wings that are covered in by the University of Portsmouth. I mean, one, it's great that we've got that relationship with the university now. Yeah. Financially, it's obviously good to us and could lead to things further down the line. But, yeah, we can't forget the fact that we've also, you know, I love looking at our flags and what it means to us. So we have to make sure that they are given a prominent space.
But just to say they're out there and safe.
Yeah, they're out there and safe.
Yeah. So, Mark, we are watched by the good, the great, and even the famous. So this last question is, how much are you looking forward to Life and Chimes at the King's Theatre on Monday, October the 16th, from Ian Darke, renowned BT sports commentator.
Really looking forward to it. You know, I know a lot of the staff are looking forward to it. This idea has been floated for a number of years now. And I think Ian Darke worked with John Kimball. I think Jake Payne's involved. I see a lot of people are involved in it. And yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to it.
Just to put some meat on the bones, it's a delve into Pompey history.
Yeah.
2-hour show. Former players Paul Walsh, Kevin Dillon, Kevin Ball, Vince Allaire, Colin Garwood, Noel Blake, John Milkins, Kit Simons, Andy Orford, Alan Knight, Ray Crawford, Guy Batters, Martin Allen, Mark Chamberlain and Richard Hughes, with starring guest Herman Haridason. So what more could you want? It's going to be a lovely story.
I say, I think it'd be a great night, chance to just relax, listen to the stories. And I love the old stories. I think, you know, just to sit there and listen to things that went on in the dressing room at the time, and they talk about different managers and that, you know, and they're quite, because the time's elapsed now, they tend to be a lot more open about what they disclose. And when you hear some of the stories, really, really funny. So if you haven't bought your tickets already, get along and buy them, yeah. Because I think sometimes fans think there's this great mystique around football. And there's not really. You know, when you boil down to it, it tends to be working class lads that have done well, you know, on the whole, you know, and they're just like me, you, Dan, whoever, you know, they just go and they're being paid for something that they love to do. And some of the stories are absolutely hilarious, you know, and it's good to hear them.
So just quickly, how do you view the season so far?
Really good. I was very, very concerned about the number of changes that we made over the summer in regards of, you know, I openly said this, we stepped up a league, which is difficult, and certain other teams that have made that jump up have found it difficult, even with being a lot more settled than we have. But we've had a change of ownership, change of board, change of manager, change of players, you know, and all these things added up, and especially going up to a new league quite often leads to disaster. So I think we are still we're going to be a team on and off the pitch in transition this year, and I just ask fans to give us the time on and off the pitch, because again, as I said previously, we have put great foundations in over the last 4 years, and now we're just starting that building up from the foundation. So again, it will all be done solidly, consistently, and in the end we'll get to where we want.
And they bounced back 3 times from losing to win, which shows, you know, they don't get hurt by defeat.
No. I mean, everyone gets hurt by defeat, but it's the reaction. You're always looking for that reaction, and yeah, the reaction's been great. Scunthorpe, if you're talking about football, and I don't really want to talk about football, was disappointed me personally, because in a positive way, that I felt that we were really starting to come together and get a little bit of a settled team, where very, very few changes that weren't enforced by injury. So we was getting the nucleus of a settled team. And even though we got beat at Northampton, I still thought we played relatively well and created a lot of chances. So Scunthorpe was disappointing, because I thought we were going like that, and I genuinely thought, shows how much we'd come on, that I thought we could go at Scunthorpe and had a good chance of getting a result there. You know, so that was the one little wobble, but then we've come back obviously again now and performed very, very well on Tuesday night. So as I say, I can only see us going one way, but we have to remain calm. You know, as long as we don't get dragged into a relegation battle and we're fighting to the top half of the table, as I said at the start, and we're competitive, then I think this will be a good season for us.
Mark, we'll leave it there. Many thanks once again.
Thank you.
Thank you
very much. Cheers, yeah.